Should fans be upset with the way that they're going, though? Long term, short term, take it however you want. Jaclyn?
I would say short term, yes. Long term, maybe. I think for me right now, my biggest concern are these pitchers because it feels to me like what they've done the past 2 years is rely on Chris Sale to be healthy enough to play again and return and be this ace. And he's played a whopping 11 games over the past 2 seasons. Like, that is just not sustainable to keep relying on Chris Sale, who is one, aging, and two, has feels like he just like walks into a room and gets injured. And so it's just that part is really frustrating. They brought in James Paxton, who also didn't play a game last season. So
Got hurt in his first rehab start too.
yes. So it's just that's the pitching situation is scary, and for a team, they just need to be able to bring in a lot of runs. And I'm not sure how they're going to do this season with that. But longer term, if Jordan's correct and this farm system is going to be impeccable, then our team's going to be great in 5 years. 5 years from now,
Well, I was thinking
may
like
not have as
two.
many fans.
I
I
was
was going to
thinking
say,
That's all
Chaim
I'm
Bloom
saying.
won't be around to see that team in 5 years.
I was thinking more like 2 years, but five's fine too. They'll be great in 5 years too.
Jordan, should fans be upset?
I think they have a right to be, especially because of, like you said, they were in last place last year, and a lot of us, and even myself included, I didn't necessarily want them to go out and spend, a boatload of money aside from at least extending Devers, and they at least did that. But I wanted them to be more aggressive than they were. I didn't want them to wait for the market to be dictated. I wanted them to go out and dictate the market, and they just didn't do that. That is where my biggest frustration lies.
It's a Bill Belichick approach right there.
Yeah, I thought I really did. I thought they were going to go out and they were going to be super aggressive and they were going. I didn't necessarily. I only got optimistic about Bogarts because Jared Carabas started tweeting all those random videos of him, and I was like, oh, okay. But I never necessarily. It just seemed like once it hit free agency that it was probably very unlikely that he was going to come back. But I understand the frustration. I think people are getting a little bit too emotional about it because I do think this team has a pretty decent amount of talent and with like Jaclyn said, her pitching point is incredibly valid. This very high ceiling, very 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 low floor. Like as great as it could be, it could also be one of the worst in the league, especially if Sale gets hurt. So it's I understand the frustration, but I do think people need to kind of relax a little bit.
Fair enough. I'm not going to relax. I hate the way this team is going. I really do. It bothers me. It really does. The roster construction, the fact that we haven't really had a real first baseman until this season, and Chaim Bloom's been around for 3 years right now. He can't figure out how to go and we have. Do you know we have one other center fielder other than Kike right now, and Kike may have to play shortstop. I know there's a rumor out there that may be true at the time that you're listening to this, that they're looking at Adam Duvall, but Jaron Duran is the only other center fielder on the roster. Holy crap, man!
I mean, Ref Snyder can play center, so I guess technically, yeah.
It's just getting uglier. I mean,
Hey, would you rather? I mean, they have 1.5. I'll call Ref Center half a center fielder. They have 1.5 center fielders, zero shortstops.
Zero
On the
shortstops,
40-man roster.
zero catchers, about 55 corner infielders, a left fielder and a right fielder that can't play defense. Like, the balance on this roster is god awful. It's god awful. It's terrible. A bullpen that's leaky or not, we don't know. And then you got the rotation that just seems very injury prone, and Jordan already detailed how boom or bust they are. Like, I'm just annoyed that it feels like we're 3 years into this project. We should be seeing something by now. And we've gotten one incredibly fluky, but incredibly fun ALCS appearance. And outside of that, it's been last place in 2020, last place last year. Really heading towards last place this year because the Orioles look like they're on the come up. You got the Rays who made the playoffs last year. The Blue Jays should be good. The Yankees should be good as well, unfortunately. Like, doesn't mean they're going to win the whole thing, but it does mean that they're better than you, which means, guess what, Red Sox fans? You got to shut up and take it again this year. Like, that's going to suck. That's really going to suck to have to do that. Walk into Yankee Stadium and just get pulverized again. Or Toronto. Toronto was 16-3 against the Red Sox last year. 16-3, including that like 27-run game that they had against them. Oh my God, it's gonna be awful.
Just be thankful that there's only 10 games against each division opponent this year.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
So the Red Sox got what? I'm trying to do the math. 36 fewer games against the division this year, and outside of the division last year, they were like 20-something games above 500. So
yeah, we're just gonna get mashed by the Dodgers and the Braves instead this year, but we'll make up ground against like the Nationals.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what I find. Yep. What really sucks about the direction of this team is just how much, like, even like no matter what you think of Trevor Story or how you feel about his ability to live up to his contract, him not being there for at least the first 2 months of the season, that sucks. Like, that sucks. I remember
it's because it was Bloom's big free agent fish. Like, this is the guy that he was like, this is the next guy. We heard all of last year. He's going to replace Bogaerts when Bogaerts walks because Bogaerts wants too much money. He's not good defensively. We got a really good defender, a guy that can mash, and he's going to be the shortstop of the future, and he's gone. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. I remember a few weeks ago I was, putting together, one of my million spreadsheets over winter break, and I looked at the lineup and I'm like, Story, even if he's not like, the 2018, 2019 Trevor Story where he's, definitely an all-star caliber player, hits like almost 40 home runs, like he's still going to be a pretty damn good middle of the order piece and he's not there for 2 months. So now you're going to be relying on Tristan Cassis to play at, not an all-star level, but a rookie of the year level at the very least. You're going to have to rely on Kike Hernandez to revert to 2021 form, and you're going to have to rely on guys like Jarren Duran, or if you sign Adam Duvall, like guys like that to have a big impact for at least the first 2 months until Story's back. And I mean, that's just on the conservative, or not the conservative side, but the front end of his time, the eternal optimist side of his injury timetable. So it could be a fun year. It could be a really, really, really not fun year. So there's a lot of gray area there for the Red Sox, and I don't really know where I sit on that right now.
It feels to me like they have to win games 3-1, 3-2, 2-1, stuff like that, and keep it close. Because if they get into a track meet, they are porked.
Yeah, and the rotation is good enough, and this pitching staff is good enough to win games 3-1 and 2-1 and 4-2. It's just a lot has to go right, especially with health. Like, Chris Sale will be good if he's healthy. James Paxton will be at least, a solid 3 starter if he's healthy. But the thing is, they got to be healthy, and they haven't been for a long time. So it's just tough.
Jaclyn, any final thoughts?
Not really. I'm not sad. I'm just disappointed. And I don't know. I really would like this team to be good again so that I stop getting crap from my coworkers. That's all.
That's a good point. She's in enemy territory, everybody. It's going to be
She's behind
tough
enemy
life
lines.
out there. Seriously.